Stone, set the ring that's on the left hand. Told her if you ever cheat, I would give you second chance. What you mean? Second chance, that's gonna be your next man. Can't have no one in them G9, I'm just your ex-man.
If I'm cheating, a cheated girl be my next plan. Alimony in the ties, hold your head, fam. Don't know where we from, better check, man. You ain't from New York, you a Nets fan. All talk, no walk, Professor X-Men. Streets will lift you up and shoot you down. Look at X-Men. All dogs go to heaven, rest in peace to X-Men. All pride coming from my pride, so it's dead, man.
Yeah, you know the drill.
So, I'm very excited because it is the first show of the lounge, and we got some amazing people here with us today. We got Tino from Spread Love Inc. We got the beautiful Luisa. We have Mr. DW here, so it's gonna be a crazy show. We already on some positive vibes. We've been chopping it up the last couple hours because of setup, and it's gonna be a great show. And I'm just gonna dive right into it because I'm not sugarcoating nothing. We ain't here to be playing, pity patting. So, definitely want to talk about, the worst date or first date that you've been on. So we're gonna start here. We're gonna start here with Tino.
Let me think. All right. So look. All right. There's a girl. I seen her. I think it's one of my party promoting days, freshman year at Texas State. Yeah, people know about them days. But anyway, I might have been back in the day. I seen her. So look, I seen her. I might have been a little woozy off some booze. Checking her out. You know what I'm saying? I said, okay, she looked good. I found out she had a man. I was like, oh, let it go.
That's nice of you. Respectfully, I'm a
respectfully. I found out. I said, okay, let it go. Now I gotta move to the friend. But look,
to the friend.
But look, no. But look, so years later go by, you know what I'm saying? I just happened to see her on Instagram. I said, okay. Click on the page. A boyfriend. Okay. Still look good. I said, all right, let me hit her up. Let's hang out. Let's go get some food. Let's hang out. So all right, cool. I'm down. Blah, blah, blah. So whenever that day came, she came over. I said, all right, let me know when you're outside. I'm gonna go to my car. I'll meet you at my car. So she said, oh, okay, I'm here. I said, bet. Go outside, get in my car. She's getting her shoes, getting everything ready before she gets in my car. Said, all right. Start up the car. Door opens. She sits down.
Goddamn.
I'm looking at this girl because I'm like, yo, you don't look like your photos. What happened? So and this is my first time ever being catfish. So I didn't even know how to continue this date or whatever, this hangout.
What was the date?
It wasn't nothing crazy.
Oh.
Look. Okay, look. We just went shopping.
Okay.
We went shopping.
Okay.
Right?
What location?
I can't remember exactly. I don't remember the exact story. I don't remember the exact story, but look. Look, I said maybe Nike or something. I don't know.
Right, Nike.
So we went. It's packed. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't know how to continue this date because I'm just shook because I just got catfished for the first time in my life, and so we go there. It's packed. I said, what? We should just go get some food and go home.
Right.
Split.
Separate ways.
Go away. So, we get some food, go back at my place, we eat, just part ways. But that was probably the worst because this is my first time being, that was.
Has it happened any other time? But after that, have you ever been catfish after that? Or was that
that's why it was so,
it just
usually you able to tell, when some girls, they posing real hard.
Oh, yeah. That little close view.
Yeah, that
side
view. You trying to get
y'all be playing. Y'all be playing with that social media.
You usually can pick it up. So it's that was just weird for me because it's wow. She got full body pictures, selfies, all of them.
Yeah, they got filters for that though. They got filters for the 6 packs and all that other stuff. No beard, beard, all that. They play. Yeah. They get the whole stone on. You know what I'm saying? You a photographer, you can do whatever you want.
I can do a lot. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
But exactly. But so that's probably my worst experience. It's my first time ever being catfished. So
wow.
it was just weird.
And you never been the same since?
Now I gotta make sure I gotta FaceTime you before we go on a date.
Absolutely. There
You gotta
it is.
FaceTime
There it
before we
is.
go on a date.
There it
Straight
is.
like that.
That's not a bad idea.
That's a great idea. Like
You don't got FaceTime, we can't go.
Yeah, no, you got an Android, we can't move forward.
we're not even texting. We're not even texting.
can't move forward.
As soon as I say, oh, what's your number? I type it in
And it's green. Oh,
Red
no.
flag.
No, this Google subscriber, that's what you better get.
But yeah, so that's my experience.
Miss Luisa.
Yes. So, worst date experience for me, I was in.
He ain't playing. Who was it? Who was it?
Well, Dwayne and I never actually talked about our worst date experiences.
Or best.
Yeah, or best. No, we definitely.
So you don't even know who's the best.
The best date I've been on with this
Well,
girl.
I like to think I'm his best date because you know what I'm saying.
This is why y'all don't have this conversation, because somebody will get their
But
feelings
we
hurt.
never really talk about the worst. Because I feel like if he would have had a best, then she'd still be around. You know
I don't believe that.
Clearly.
Because dates don't symbolize a successful relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's just one good moment.
Okay.
You be arguing as soon as you
That's
get home.
fair,
What's up?
but chances are, go ahead.
So worst date for me. I was in undergrad, and there was a guy I was casually interested in. Very attractive guy. Didn't go to my school. I went to Bowie State in Bowie, Maryland, which is a state school, but it's a small like HBCU. And yeah, so he took me out to dinner, and he took me to a very like fancy area in DC, and he kept wanting to kiss me like all night long, like pick me up from the dorm, want to move in. Right, want to move in first.
He must have thought he was a cold piece. He was like,
He was real bad. Like,
you know who picking you up at the door. What's up?
got in his car, moved in for a I was just like,
What kind of car was it? What kind of car was it?
The Jeep. I don't even remember.
Yeah, it was,
I
I don't know if it was like a nice car or something where he had that confidence where he could Malibu.
What did he tell you?
It's Benzo. What's up?
Right, nah. If it was something like that, I don't know. It was clean. I'll give him that. Like, it was nice for what it was. But I just don't remember, like,
Yeah, can't tell. Don't even let it play. Like, yes.
It might have been a maximum for all I know.
Yeah,
like, for real.
It's nice.
Don't spoil
They don't have
everything.
no kids. That's just crazy.
So anyways, he took me out for dinner, and to be honest with you, like, I really just wanted to go on a date for the food. The cafeteria didn't have a whole lot of options. I wasn't feeling, whatever they were serving that day, and honestly, I just wanted to go out. Like, judge me, whatever. I'm sure some ladies out there that'll feel me. Like, he offered me dinner. Like, it's not like I asked him. I didn't ask him for dinner. He offered it to me.
We gonna talk about that later. We ain't even diving into that.
That's
I wasn't to feed you.
Yeah. You hungry?
But that's what he offered. He offered to feed me, so I took the bait.
And you be a fool at the table, right?
I took the bait, and we went out and wore my best, BB tracksuits, 2005. So
Dating yourself too hard.
2 years.
So, anyways, we went on this date, and everything would have been so cool if he wasn't so pushy on the kissing. And I had to tell my man, like, look, I don't believe in kissing like that. Like, I had to
Like it's a
hit
religion?
him with something like
Like it's a religion. I don't believe in kissing.
I said, I don't believe in
Me
kissing.
and my Jesus, nah.
I had to channel my inner pretty woman, and I was just
Pro
like,
mask. You want to leave him popular. Now don't look at
It's
this.
a pandemic for us all five.
right. It's a pandemic in the future. I can feel it. I can feel it. You know the pandemic.
That Ebola spread. That's on fire.
It was what was it, SARS? Anthrax. And I didn't want to kiss. I told him, I said, it's just too intimate for me. And I don't believe in kissing, so.
I can see it through, my boy.
Yeah, like we were in a relationship, like that would have been different, but I'm sorry, I just don't really believe in kissing like that. But he went with it, like he was super cool,
He
like
was
super
mad.
nice guy.
He was mad.
We
He was upset. I'm giving you the translation, bro. He took that L.
went on with our date. The conversation, I ain't gonna lie, it got a little awkward after that. Like he wasn't as.
You didn't think so?
Yeah.
You didn't think it was gonna be like that?
That's on him. Like that's
What
not.
is
That's
7
not-
kisses?
that's
He's
not-
like,
All
you
day
get one?
putting his maximum.
He shot 0 from
Just
the
for
field.
you to deny.
0. Shaq shot 25% from the
He
free
should
throw line.
not have been so pushy.
I just feel like that's weird. Especially
is
if it's
weird.
your first date.
It's our first date. He
Unless you
just-
got the juice though. Like
It's not even about
He
the
didn't
juice.
though.
no, but if you had the
He didn't
juice,
have
like
That's like after the date type of thing.
But it's
At
so.
the end.
I'm gonna
At the
take a
end.
girl
If you
out.
no, if you got the
I'm
juice,
not gonna take a girl out to eat.
Yeah.
Like
No, and I never
I'm
have
gonna
the
first date
expectation.
and try to like.
yeah.
So I'm gonna clue you
At the
in.
table?
I'm gonna clue you in.
No, but if
you
the conversation is clearly going that way, you can get that during the date.
Right, but-
he didn't read the room.
Right.
Exactly.
But if he really
He's
had the
really
juice, I would have been the one to try to kiss him.
Hello.
He wouldn't have been the one to
Hello. Look, tap your name.
I don't know what you're talking about because I went in to kiss her.
And did it work?
Oh yeah,
Juice.
But I read
Juice.
the room. You see what I'm saying? I
The
read
juice.
The room was telling me. Go,
Yeah.
wait.
Hello.
Well,
Go
I
for
was,
it.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, see, she's like, that's different.
that was a little bit different, but that's
That's
another.
another story for later.
Mm-hmm. And you going last, because we already, look, you going last.
Hey, look. I
Wait,
mean, yeah.
'cause you finally got your story, though.
Yeah, I picked one because we talked off camera just a little bit. Because we saw like our date count as men were probably a little bit higher, only because we're just a little bit more.
Usually
I don't think,
You gotta initiate.
We gotta
Right,
initiate.
right.
Yeah.
So it took a while for us to kind of narrow down one or two.
But let's do it. What's your worst date or first date?
Okay, so I met this particular young lady. We're not saying
What's
no
her name?
names and nothing.
What's her name?
I don't even remember.
What restaurant?
Truth be told, I don't even remember. That's all. But I don't remember nothing before her. Like
he got amnesia too.
We went shopping.
No, but, okay, so you ever, you go out to like the club as a group, like, maybe 3 or 4 fellas, and maybe you meet like another group of girls, because, one or two people got some mutual friends. So now, that's the best kind, like, you and your group, in their group, you're kind of dancing a little bit. And there's one particular girl, and I remember, because, okay, around this time, you're in your early 20s, mid-20s, something like that, and you're trying to figure out, your type. And I'm just gonna be real, this is the curviest girl I've ever seen. She was good. She was probably a good 5'8", 5'9", but just like straight up, like Coke bottle built, like brick house built, and I've never seen a body in real life. In real life, I've never seen like, and at night, the club, and she had the sequins, and the lights are flickering, and her hair's done, and makeup's great, and everything.
She brought her A game.
Like, I'm talking about it was some
she was
yeah.
ready.
And I don't know, somehow talking over the music and dancing, we kind of got a little vibe. And
Oh, please don't tell me.
so we decided.
Forever 21
So
dress.
no. So we decided to hook up. I think it was like the very next day, like to hook up and do like a lunch or something like that. So some daytime stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm inspired by the story by Tino's story from earlier. But
Oh my God.
So we meet up. We meet up for lunch.
You went shopping too?
And I do remember it was cold. Like I remember it was cold. Because she had like this beat up sweater on or something. It was probably fashionable. No, it was probably like a fashion thing for her, but it wasn't
like
work,
Yeezy.
but-
She had a Yeezy
but-
sweater on.
She
She had some holes.
From the night before.
Right.
Yeah.
When she showed
She got
up,
jumped yesterday. She went.
almost like Tino was saying, this was a completely different girl.
Mm-hmm.
Like the hair was not as done.
She switched
I'm not
the
saying for a second.
You wasn't
it
like
would be like a 10 like every day of the week, nothing like that. But it was just kind of just with a pen or something. I don't know. Like this was like she was doing laundry, maybe she was meeting.
She was trying to recover from the night before, and she just
Maybe.
Well, the synthetic hair shine different in the club light.
Right.
Hard clown.
So, and this is when I learned about the magic or the wizardry of makeup. Okay, because her face, like this wasn't a catfish. It was the same girl. The structure was there, but it was a completely different face, and that took me a good 5-10 minutes to recalibrate a little bit because it wasn't, it was different. It was different. Anyway, long story short. So look, I was in undergrad at the moment, right? And so me and Luis, we went to the same undergrad, but I was about 3 or 4 years before her. So we missed each other by a semester, believe it or not. So you weren't even there. We can make this clear.
Look, she said before my hand gets stiff.
So anyway,
It's
even though I'm not exactly feeling her like that, like I was last night or the previous night, you could tell she still wanted to like do more. And I was just like, well, I wasn't there, but again, I mean, I'm mid-20s. I'm like, I'm not gonna like turn it down, right? But so look, I'm not. This is gonna get bad. We went to.
It's gonna get bad.
We went back on campus. I don't even know what told me to do this, because when we got into my dorm room, right? Number one, I didn't know if my roommate was there or not. I was just like,
You didn't care.
right. I'm like, if it works, it works. If this happens, it happens. But I get there, and we got one of those high beds that you can just like you can stand up and lean back on. So you can't just, if you're gonna do something, it doesn't happen organically. You don't sit down like you're on the couch and
you gotta climb up that mug.
You gotta climb up. right. So we in there and everything's awkward, and she's awkward, and I'm awkward, and I can tell she wants, and I'm like, and all I know is that I think my vibe was we just kind of shut down. I was like, yeah, let's get you back home.
Call it.
I made something up, but here's the worst part. So the whole date was just, it was very mid. It was just, I could have had lunch by myself and had the same experience, less awkwardness.
So an imaginary person would have the
But
same.
it gets a little bit worse, and this is what made it the worst, right?
Yeah.
So the next day, my man hits me up. And he's like, yo, what happened with you and so-and-so? I really don't remember her name. What happened with you and so-and-so? And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, she said that, that y'all went to y'all room and she was trying to do this, that, and that, and she thinks you gay. And like, and all this other shit is funny. Like,
That's wild. I just was reading something about that.
That led to my man. And probably multiple people, because her girls too, probably. But I guess she was so offended that I was like, climb up on this joint and let's just do this, And
go ahead, Dwayne.
She tried to paint a whole different picture.
I'm
mad, and I'm like, what you mean?
He said, I'm mad.
He trying to hold his manhood. That is hilarious.
Right, but long story short, the vibe wasn't good from the beginning. The vibe wasn't good in the middle, and I shouldn't even entertain anything more than that. And because we even got to that point, she started spreading these little,
Then you have to spend a whole semester trying to recover.
Now you gotta walk around all these girls.
Yeah, with all these chicks.
Like Gary.
I don't even know you. Wow, shit. Come on, girl. Come on.
It was all good. But we laughed it off like a week later. Not the girl. I ended up talking to her again. But from my boys, we all. That's the first time that happened to me. Because as a young man, like, yes, you need to get in the habit of saying no when it's not right.
Yeah.
This one just clearly wasn't right. And I was like, let me just get you home because I'm not even.
You're not feeling it.
Nothing about this is working.
I'm definitely gonna talk about that ahead as well. Just because I feel like sometimes as men will see, or even women, like when we date, especially the first couple of days, we'll see a red flag or a sign, and we still go. Because for some odd reason, you're like, oh, I can change that, or it's not a big deal.
You can fix it.
And then that one red flag be the very reason y'all break up. Right there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, why not see it at the beginning and be like you, like, all right, I'm gonna just
let it go.
call it. You know what I'm saying? Just because that's not something I
even now, I still call it too late apparently, but it's all good.
You need to learn to
It's so funny because I was just seeing that on social media, like how when guys turn down some girls and like some girls' pride would be really high and just like spread that.
Yeah.
We'll say like that guy is gay just because they got turned down or something. That's such a high school thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, that's just
Women
weird.
aren't used to the rejection. We don't take it.
But it's
very
like, don't
well.
just go. He's gay.
How do we go from no, I don't want to date you to now I like boys? Like this is different.
Right.
Maybe I don't want to date you.
When we get rejected, we don't just go.
We don't. Well, you can't say
Well, you're
that.
used to
But
it.
it wouldn't hurt us. It wouldn't hurt her reputation. Though.
Yeah.
If it was like Luisa like girls, they'd be like, well, that's up.
That's all right. What's wrong with that?
Look, cool.
But no, it's funny because I just read that.
My worst date. I will say that, me and my wife had a very bad date at the beginning.
Okay.
But I don't think that's my worst date. I feel like it's up there. It's like
But
two,
you overcame.
1.5. Yeah, badly. Hanging by a thread. My worst date was I was working at this restaurant.
What's the restaurant name?
Shut up.
Let's get into the details.
I was back home in KC, man, and I already know if I tell this story, my homie's gonna crack up I was on Tinder. I found this chick that I thought that was cool, and we scheduled a date, picked her up after work, and then she got in my car and she did not look what was advertised, respectfully. You know what I'm saying?
Theme going on.
Yeah. Respectfully, she did not look the way that she was supposed to, and it threw me off. And I'm still trying to continue to date. We was gonna go to this bar, and she tells me while she's in the car that she lied about her age on Tinder.
No.
So she's actually underage.
And you about to go to a bar.
We're gonna go to a bar, so that's why she was trying to come clean, because she's like, oh, I can't go to a bar, I can't get a drink. And so I was like, oh. So I pulled up to this little burger shack. And, you know, I pulled up to the burger shack, yo. And literally,
that's scary.
Yeah, it's wild, because I'm like, I'm going to jail tonight. Like, you know, that's what it is. And we're in the heart of downtown, you know. And so I'm literally like, all right. I drive, like, we get to the thing, I text my homie, yo, bro, like, call me back to work. Like, call me back to work, it's a code red. He said, what's wrong? Code red. And he, like, called me, he's like, bro, like, I need you back at work right now, blah, blah, blah. And I think based off of 2 lies, like, your appearance and then your age, like, you lied about that. I felt it was grounds to leave her at the restaurant. So I left her where she was. And she had to figure out what she was getting back then. Because you lied, like, dog, like, I already tried to be a gentleman. And continue to date,
left her.
But then you lied twice.
Yeah, no.
No, look, underage, under 21, she can't get in the bar. Underage, under, like, I gotta kick you out of my car right now.
Yeah, bro, like, you look at it, just drop it where you was at, or, like, Papa you, he sounds like, I'll get you a bite to eat off the Tyler meal, because you're a child.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then after that, I'm leaving, and you're going to make your way home for life.
Straight past,
and
bro.
And then I took it one further. I did report her on Tinder, too, because she lied. You know what I'm saying?
that's
Nobody else. I reported her. Bro, ain't nobody else.
No, you're right on that.
He should have.
She gotta go.
She gonna get somebody to jail.
You know what? I tried to find her on Bubblehead. I want to see what the age is gonna be on all these things, because you lied and you are finding dudes that are like way older than you, and you trying to find like no, you're getting reported. I'm telling you. I'm protecting all us brothers. You know what I'm saying? I'm holding it down because we're not going to prison.
Yeah, nah.
That's crazy. Nah, that's crazy for sure.
That's wild.
That's really wild.
So we're gonna get on Luisa for a quick second. You know what I'm saying? Like she said, she go on these dates. She went on a date for the food.
Right.
How many times in your career with these relationships and datings have you went out for just the food?
So I'm gonna put it to you straight like this.
I need the truth.
I'm gonna be truthful. Most of the times I went out on a date was because of the food.
What is most of the time? I need a percentage. I need a most.
That's 95.
That's like 80 and up. Like,
it's up there. I'm gonna be honest. Probably like 90% of the time.
90. It was like a good 5 days she was there for.
She said, okay, I kind of like you. You kind of live good.
The guys that I actually dated, like very little like first date encounters. I'm gonna be honest. So if I actually went on and let's go on a date.
I'm hungry.
No, it was never like that. It was.
What is it? If you said I'm going for the food, but you're not hungry. You get a meal for tomorrow.
When I was single, I got offered to go on dates. You know, I don't want to say often, but like from time to time. And what are you gonna offer me? Like dinner. That's like the guy's thing. Like, hey, let's go grab a bite.
Yeah.
Sure, let's go grab a bite. Okay, let's go.
So do you still accept it even if they're not attractive to you? Like, do you still let that person take you out even if you're not attracted to that person?
It would depend. So, like,
for your number to be 90%, independent. Oh,
yeah. I just want to know, like, because
okay, so I didn't go on that many dates. Like, let's be clear. Like, I wasn't going on a date like every other night and nothing. I wasn't. I didn't really date.
Candy right here.
I am what I consider a serial monogamer. And what that means is there would be one guy that I would hook up with, and whether or not him and I were actually boyfriend and girlfriend or dating or whatever the situation was, like that was my guy that I would call.
Yeah.
So every other guy that kind of fell out of that, like I wouldn't.
It wasn't serious.
It wasn't like I would.
But did they know that though?
Now, whether or not they know that.
Okay. So we were talking about intentions. Is it important for you to just to converse about intentions the first date, or is that something that you can talk about, later on in the dating journey? What do you guys think?
So I'll say this. Look, before, and I'm taking myself to single single Dwayne, single DW, right? And I'm thinking to myself, anytime I've asked a girl to go out with me, I'm talking about, maybe let's say 25 and beyond, or maybe 23 and beyond. There was something about them that I was genuinely interested in, because you got girls who, and I'm being frank, you got girls who you wouldn't really want to like date. You want other things from, and you got girls that you think well, maybe this is worth seeing if there's a connection there. And I've never asked anyone to go out with me that I think there could at least be somewhat of a connection. So my intention from the beginning is, can we vibe together? Can we do something together for, not just tonight, but like going forward? That's me. So I think that comes out naturally, at some point in the conversation, like, well, why do you ask me out? Or why, I feel like it always comes up. It's like, well, I just figured, we've been giving each other googly eyes. Maybe we can see if we got anything in common, Right. But my intention was to date if I asked you out on a date. Like that.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Because I usually don't. I'm not gonna just ask a girl out, take a girl out just because if I'm trying to get something out. 9 times out of 10, if I'm taking you out, I'm interested in you. I want to get to know you. I want to see if we can actually build a bond or see if we actually click, and then try to keep on going on dates and going from there. Because if I'm taking you out, I probably want to date you 9 times out of 10.
And Luisa wants dinner.
Yeah, we already. We don't even have to get her to answer this question because she's already been there. We good. She hungry. I will say, I'm kind of in and out about it. There's some women that I definitely tried to get to know, and there's also women that I know I scrolled on my Instagram and was like, she bad. I know that'd be a good. But I don't think there's a good conversation starter of like, oh, what is this at the first date? Like, I feel like that's not a conversation that should be had.
Yeah.
Just because that puts somebody on the spot. Yes, you should really know after the first date what the intentions are, because you see how the vibe is. You know what I'm saying? If somebody wants to sleep with you, they're gonna try on the first date.
Right.
If they really respecting you, you know that this person's pretty serious. You know what I'm saying? So it's really not. Take verbal communication as communication. Take that move, how they move as what they want to do. Again, you was on a date where a guy wanted to kiss you 6 times. You know what I'm saying? Like, you knew what he was on. You know what I'm saying? Like,
even the server was like, shoot, bro. Oh, I'm sorry.
My bad. Do you want some more water? So you just gotta take that non-verbal communication. I do want to switch gears. Let's talk about social media and dating. Social media and dating is something that's very prevalent in this era. In this generation, probably the last couple of generations have been very big on this thing. How has social media impacted relationships, dating, and even marriage? Because we do have a couple married people up here, so they can give that perspective. How do you guys think that has impacted your dating life, as well as just the overall state of relationships during this time?
So what I will say is, that's a really good question. And I think that it has impacted relationships significantly, especially if there's any element of insecurity in the relationship. Because let me be insecure in my relationship, like maybe I suspect like he might be like texting his ex or something, like early in the relationship, we just dating. Yeah. And then he drop an emoji like happy birthday cake, confetti, smiley face, winky. Or let me catch, a mutual friend on Facebook and he'd be like, nice picture, a winky face, smoochy. And I'm just like,
Wait, but that's levels. But that's levels, Luisa. So you telling me a birthday cake is equivalent to a winky face and a kiss? It's equivalent?
Listen, Luisa's not messing around. We've had fights over emojis. I'm scared to even use them now.
I'm ready to be in your face like, yo, who you dropping birthday cakes to?
Thumbs up is a cool one.
You talking about you want to put your thumb up.
I don't want you to drop no thumbs up.
That's all you can do.
I don't want you to drop no confetti, no winkies.
Hey,
the winky
are you from DC? You a total East Coast chick, like for sure. Don't say no winkies. No dead ass. So like, don't say no winkies.
We have worked through a lot. Like I've had to tell him like.
She came with you like a G, yo. Don't send no winkies around in this house.
Winky.
No Twinkies, no winkies, no flinkies, no. Like none of that. And she's like,
I had to tell him like straight up, like we're not doing emojis. But I'm gonna let you know right now. And we've had to have really uncomfortable conversations. Like, listen, and I've had to like.
But what is it about the emojis?
So
what if he said, "Hey, beautiful" with nothing compared to "Hey, beautiful" with a peach?
Maybe you're right. We probably be right.
We be fighting.
He said, I knew that.
Send the eggplant in the peach if you want to.
I'm like no fruits, no vegetables.
He already been leading you out this. What if she vegetarian? Like she vegetarian chicks. You know what I'm saying? You gotta send the peach
nice
in the
picture, eagle.
You gotta put a steak. I love it.
Steak? No, that implies
No proteins. No proteins.
No meat.
No sausages. No
Only
burgers.
vegan emojis. Nah.
Weak.
But I think that, to be honest with you, I think that social media, because there is so much, like social media is all ego, right? Like it's all about looking good and the way that you present yourself. And Dwayne and I have been in a relationship for so long, and we've been together. This September will be 7 years of marriage. In October will be 11 years together. So it's been really long since we've been together, and we've gotten to know each other and had to have these uncomfortable conversations.
Crust.
And it's,
You can
it's
tell
really,
he's loving these conversations.
It's really gotten to a point where I've had to been like early on, like, listen, you have mutual friends that I have, and when you do this, it makes it look like you don't respect me on social media.
Yeah.
And social media is all about the way other people look at you, and whether or not our foundation is rock solid or whether it's on the rocks doesn't matter, because how it's perceived on social media is what people are going to think. And if you're out here dropping, peach emojis and kissy faces or winkies.
He said, relax.
Oh, if you're dropping, winky faces on the people, then people are going to think like, oh, Dwayne is not respectful of Luisa. And
now, my question is that
me.
significant though? So, like, is it significant what other people thinks about your relationship? And should it impact their perception, impact your relationship?
Absolutely not. But that's the crazy part of it. If you have if I have I'm in a sorority, if I have one of my sorority sisters take a screenshot of Dwayne dropping a winky boy into somebody else's picture, then I'm gonna feel like that's gonna trigger some kind of insecurity on me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's gonna make me feel like,
because you don't know the background behind it.
Well, the answer is yes. You said no. So it shouldn't affect
it
us.
should not.
But it does.
But it does.
It does.
Absolutely it does.
And look, in real talk, like I said, mind you, again, these are conversations we've had years ago.
Yeah.
But
he said, let's get this straight. This ain't happening yesterday.
Now, two things have to happen. She needs to be, articulate enough to express exactly why this is an issue for her, which she did, and I have to be mature enough to hear that.
Yeah.
And eventually, when I heard that this is making her look bad, or this is making her, or us, look a certain way, or her have to address a certain thing, that's when it was starting to really land for me. I was like, there's no emoji or comment that's worth this kind of feeling and this kind of static I'm getting at home right now.
Exactly.
And you gotta acknowledge it, and you just you get better. And we talked about how I was just when we were jokingly doing this, maybe amongst friends, we talking about guys scrolling through pictures. And some pictures of a girl or something, it might pull the light out of your hand.
Not pull the light. That's a new one. I didn't like that. Hey, babe, I'm using that. I'm using it when it don't work for you. The light got pulled.
I was just scrolling.
I didn't even do it myself.
Sometimes you're just scrolling, you accidentally double tap.
Yeah, I just double tapped it one time.
You just
I tried to unlock it, but now it's stuck.
okay.
Now it's stuck. Instagram
It's
is
weird.
It's a glitch.
But I mean,
You can't like it.
It's permanent.
it takes conversation to figure out what is acceptable and not acceptable in your own relationship, and that probably gonna look a little different depending on everybody else. But once I understood what what irks her, and I could adjust my own social media behavior, and I think we've come a long way. But I understand what again, it shouldn't matter, but it does, because this is really the only thing that really connects all of us. The good things about social media, it connects us all. The bad things about social media, it keeps us connected and engaged in not all the right ways. Like I said, we're constantly looking at each other and comparing and thinking and making and kind of looking for clues about this, that, and the other. And it's like, you know, you have to find that balance, and we, you know, thankfully we found that balance there.
Yeah, I think it's very intriguing of what you said because obviously, you know, your maturity is shown because of the fact that you are willing to dictate or understand that, hey, this is my household. I don't want anything to impact my household. So any action that is going to impact her, I'd rather not do.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of men don't have that.
It's
accountability, like accountability factor,
That's why I
and,
like-
and it's a sense of pride because when you start out in a relationship, you still have your independence, and it's like some men, even after dating for 2 years, they still try to hang on to that little bit of independence.
Yeah.
I'm a man. Like I'm a like some. I'm gonna look at her behind. I'm gonna do this. And it's just like, dog, like you rather hold on to that than to keep her happy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You'd rather hang on to that than to be held accountable for what you're doing.
And honestly, it's a choice. Like, I'm speaking from a woman's perspective, like, you know, you have to wake up every morning in a marriage and choose that person.
Yeah.
And choose what actions do and don't fall in line with having that person.
The relationship too, though. I mean, you still have to make that same conscious decision.
Right.
So we got Lex coming through with some drinks, man. You know. And as Lex coming here, man, I got some questions for you too, man. You can't get out of this.
You might not get the same.
Well, that's why I want to know.
Oh, look at
Well,
that.
I see a wedding band, so you clearly got wisdom. There's wisdom here.
Definitely. I'm wisdom. Definitely. But I didn't go on so many dates as
That
everyone
looks
else.
good.
Yeah.
I wasn't so
Oh, this looks.
You wasn't so blessed.
Oh, that's fine. Look at that.
So what we got? What we got here, man?
Here, let me go ahead and take these wine glasses off for you first.
This is crazy.
So look, this is the kind
So
of
when I
thing
tried to
that
make this
would pull
before, it
the
didn't
light.
look nothing like this.
It's like coffee.
Yeah, right.
Like coffee.
So what is this? What we got?
So this is a strawberry jalapeno margarita. It's called Lover's Quarrel. Because it's sweet and spicy. So you just got
Like us.
Right, exactly.
Who's sweet and who's spicy, Lisa?
I'm the spicy.
I'm the spicy one around here.
I'm the sweet one.
I'm the sweet one. I'm the sweet one.
It's always good to have balance.
Yeah, right.
Well, I hope you enjoy.
Yeah.
So as we're having this conversation, you were in the background, and I know you probably have like some amazing input. As you, how long have you been married?
3 years now.
3 years. So in that 3 years of marriage, obviously it's different growth in every year.
Exactly.
What would you say is the biggest thing that you've learned in those 3 years?
Not to be selfish. I'm an only child, so it's
Oh, poor
definitely
baby.
Oh, that was a transition.
only child. So still to this day, my mother spoils me. So she definitely ruined me with women. Just always expecting something from every girl that I dated, always being more take than give.
Yeah.
When I met my wife, it started off that way for me. I knew she had something that the other women that I dated didn't, but it was still, more me, less you. And then something just hit me one day where I was like, wow, she's an amazing person. I don't want to fuck it up.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not going to work, it's definitely not going to be because of me this time. So I decided to work on, not being selfish and
That's a hard pill to swallow though. When you can admit that you selfish,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta change a habit. You be
Right.
like,
Well, I'm a firm believer in you should be who you really are. So if you're selfish, you trying to pretend not to be is only going to hurt others. So learn how not to abuse people from your selfishness. But if that's who you are, then you need to be dating, not being married, or not, trying to kind of get someone
Settle.
to come along.
Stay in
Trying to
your
settle.
lane.
You gotta stay in your
lane.
lane. You have to stay in your lane. So
that's big.
that's just one of the biggest things for me, which is being less selfish. And ever since I did, the marriage kind of just took off.
That's amazing, man.
Awesome.
That's great input, man. Appreciate that.
I'll drink to that.
Right.
All right.
Much love. I appreciate that.
Enjoy.
It's delicious.
Before we, broke, we talked about accountability and responsibility, and I feel like as a man, sometimes we do fall short of the accountability piece for whatever reason. It could be, media, it could be just our own self pride. But I was raised by women. Like, my dad came, he was in and out of my life. So I had all aunties and my mom and my grandma, like just all women, you know what I'm saying? And I could see the sense of pain a lot growing up, just because of abstinence or the lack of accountability and stuff. And so I always prided myself. When I was younger, I would say I was way more innocent as a child. Like even in high school, I was really innocent, just because I used to always see the pain of a woman when I wanted to date. I never wanted to disappoint. I never really broke up with anyone until I went to college. You know what I'm saying? Like, they would break up with me because I didn't want to see female pain.
Wow.
And so when I got to college, when they started playing with me, I was like, man, forget y'all, man. Y'all hurt me a little too damn much.
You gonna let me take you out and get dinner all night?
Yeah. So
Not kissing me?
I can't get no kiss.
I can't get no kiss. To get Applebee's, girl.
Hell no. You get no kiss. We ain't kissing.
We ain't kissing. So, you know, it's just my wife. We were recently married, you know, and we're gonna be having an anniversary in July.
Woo.
I will say, I mean, for one, marriage is great, and I feel like we're gonna have the conversation a little later. But you know, marriage is great. I love everything about being married just because of the companion. It's something that I always used to think about as a child. Like, it wasn't like a lot of men don't really think about marriage. Me, I was huge on marriage just because of the fact of, you know, I didn't see it a lot. I wanted to be the example and figure out the way to be the example. So I got mentored by a lot of people that were married and got, like, although there wasn't people in my immediate family that were married, I surrounded myself with married people so I can know what that looks like. And I feel like I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and they were saying that a lot of people don't see the example of marriage, and so they cannot be held accountable for their actions. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no wisdom, so how are you going to expect wisdom? Or how are they going to lead by example when there's no example given to them? Yeah. And it's intriguing because we'll talk about social media, we'll talk about even media, like, you know, what you watch on TV with the access that we have. All of us have been around the reality TV era. We grew up either watching Jersey Shore, we grew up watching Flavor of Love.
Flavor.
We grew up watching New York.
I love New York.
Yeah.
That was my thing.
Nah, those are trash shows.
I like that show. Wait a minute. Hold up.
This is the catalyst.
You can't have I Love New York without Flavor Flav. Like,
Yeah,
Flavor
she
Love.
didn't make that show, man.
Yeah,
like,
she
she
did.
made the
She
show.
did.
They brought her back and sent her home again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She was the star of that show. But, you know, and then they even one-upped it. It was like Basketball Wives, and then it was Love and Hip Hop.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just intriguing because that's what we see.
Right.
And that's what your children see. And that's what people that we grew up see. So I was never really disappointed when I dated and someone was just completely misguided what relationships look like. Because of the fact that's what they see. They think that, arguing, because if you watch those shows, they argue all day.
Right.
They get cheated on all day. They take them back all day. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't get upset because of the fact that that's what they have access to. But I can choose who I bring in. Mm-hmm. And so when I was dating, the most smallest thing that you could have did, if it was any form of toxicity in the first couple of weeks, I would cut it off. I don't care how fine you was. I don't care if, you know, my friend's like, that's you, or, you know, my uncle, that's you, nephew. I don't care what that's about. You know, I don't care what.
Hey, I claimed Louisa before we were together. I took her to a pool party. They were like, that's you. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that's mine. Yeah.
So I was raised by the men in my family.
Mm-hmm.
I spent a lot of time with my dad and my uncles, and it was always a lot of men raising me. So my mom and my dad, I call my dad, but he's my stepdad. Mm-hmm. And he's been my dad since I was like 3.
Yeah, oh, that's your pops.
Right, that's my dad.
That's your pops.
And I spent a lot of time with him. And all my cousins are guys except for one. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I feel like that had a lot of influence on how I was raised because I was raised to be very fluid around men. Yeah. And I never felt like, I never felt out of place. I never felt like that need to have a man by my side because I was raised to be complete.
A lot of supportive men.
Exactly. Yeah. And the way that my dad had raised me and my sister, you know, his love language was acts of service. And he showed that to us every single day. He would never say, I love you, like verbally.
But he would show us.
He would show us. Like, he would bring us breakfast in bed and would go outside and clip little flowers from my mom's garden and put it on our breakfast tray and bring us a little tray when we wake up. It was very cute. So for me, it was like, you know, men, like he set the bar high.
Right.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, he set the bar high for men. and gave me
And you
such
weren't
a
compromising anything until you got
and
there.
gave me such a sense of self-worth that I never felt like I had to dim my light for any other man. So like when I got into the dating scene, I was just like, okay, whatever.
Like, it's
You
just
go to
dinner, it's just
like
this,
we
yeah.
can go to dinner, cool. Like I'm gonna go home and do my homework, and you can go home and do whatever. And we would just
do
keep
whatever.
it chill. I would keep it chill all the time. And even with Dwayne, like we were friends before we started dating. I told him straight up, like, I don't want nothing to do with you. I don't want to date you.
We were co-workers.
Yeah.
That's how we knew each other. We both were bartenders for a while, and that's how that was our initial, hey, this is who we are. Now again, as a young man, I had friends and girlfriends and all the above, and I probably had a girlfriend when I met Luisa.
He had a girlfriend working with us when we were dating.
Oh,
He
that's
came
cool.
on to me some blase.
Okay.
And I was oh, your coworker right there, your girlfriend right there. Like, stop playing. Y'all live together right
And we don't care. We don't care. No.
We ain't let it go.
Everybody said y'all live together. You know,
I had a little
everybody
short,
said
but nonetheless.
right.
I ain't doing
Y'all
that.
was planning for a baby and all this. Like, rumors.
Why are you putting him on Fresh Street like that?
Oh no, she can say all this. I don't know what she got all that.
Right.
But to what you were saying, it was just like, how you were raised and, the influence that you have around you, like definitely has a significant impact on, maybe it embeds into your subconscious and like who you become and how that like transpires in the dating scene, which is crazy.
Tino, as you being, in the dating scene right now, how do you feel like the pool of, women are, you are currently dating right now.
Careful.
Relationship. Right, be careful. Because we might see an RIP Tino.
Yeah. Better too.
But how do you feel like, even in the past couple of years,
Yeah.
the pool of women that you kind of dealt with and how's it impacted dating for you?
Honestly, I just feel like, our generation, this age range, a lot of people don't know what they want.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of people fail at communication. So like I love what y'all was talking about, how you explained, like it took a lot for you, not even a lot, but like for you to just even say like, I don't like when you do this. I feel like a lot of people don't do that in relationships. And that's why they, people hold this in like, okay, they keep doing this, I don't like it, but I didn't tell them. So you get to your breaking point, now you cussing and yelling at this person.
And no one know how
you
got there.
didn't communicate that.
Yeah.
And this could have been solved by a simple conversation. So I just feel like this generation has a hard time communicating what they want and their intentions. I feel like that's the biggest thing I've been dealing with.
Yeah.
It's like, you never know, what I'm saying? You might be into this person, but this person hasn't really communicated their side, or they just don't communicate well. So I just feel like that's the biggest struggle now for a lot of the relationships nowadays in the dating scene. Dating right now is just really weird. Like y'all said, social media and all these dating apps that we have now, that people are just out doing stuff that you don't know nobody's intentions.
Well, it's the point of convenience, you know what I'm saying? Like you can literally go on social media and just get, ideally whatever you want.
Yeah.
And if something doesn't work out, you can go back out and do it again.
Yeah.
And it's the lack of being genuine, and that's where I found when I was dating was like, oh, I'm just dating because I haven't found someone genuine. And until I find someone genuine, I'm not taking it to the next level. And I was very closed off when I was dating just because of the fact that like I know how manipulative women are. I mean, I grew up with women. I know how their mind processes things. When my friends mess up, who do they call? Ghostbusters. They call me. You know what I'm saying? Because they're like, what am I missing? Like I thought I didn't mess up. Well, you can't do this.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? And if you're gonna do this, then expect this. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I think there's an advantage of mine because I can understand emotion. I'm not the most emotional.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I do understand emotion. I understand how we got there, and that's why I avoid, like with my wife, like if we are going to fight about something, I avoid it at all costs because I know what I need to do to not make that conversation happen. So before she even gets to it, like, all right, I got you. You know what I'm saying? That happens to really change because I need peace in my life. I don't need to continuously argue about the same thing that's going to get on your nerves for the next 5 years and we divorce. So let's get to this today, and we can end this habit. We can get to a next battle. And until that accountability, until men have that accountability and women have that accountability, we will not move forward. In relationships, this relationship pool is going to be 50%, and divorce is going to be 50%. I did want to say. There is a sense of, past generations have been used to staying in relationships through thick and thin. If you've seen your grandparents, they've been together for years.
Right.
And you don't know what they've been through.
Right.
No disrespect to what their relationship may be.
You got hints.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they've been through a lot. And our generation's not that type to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And the same friend I was talking about relationships with, he said, this generation doesn't take marriage as seriously because of the fact of, well, not even as seriously, because it's just like temperamental, because they have so many options. They can be like, oh, it didn't work out, so I can go ahead and divorce. And divorce is easier than just sticking through the vows that you had said. Mm-hmm. And so when I was going ahead and I got engaged to Ellen, everybody was like, oh, like, good luck, this and that, and trying to discourage me from marriage. And I got mad. Like, I literally went off my homies. I'm like, stop doing that to me. You know what I'm saying? Because marriage should not be a bad thing. Marriage is a beautiful thing. And although you may not have a beautiful experience with marriage, do not don't put that in.
Don't project that on you. Yeah, straight up. Don't project that shit on me.
Because all that's gonna do is start us off on the wrong foot.
Yeah.
And I want to know why it's such a tough thing that marriage is such a bad connotation for male and females. Like even females, they want to get married, but then they also get divorced too because it's not what they turned it out to be. Mm-hmm. It's just like a weird thing in this time, and a conversation needs to be had about that. So
I think a lot of that goes back to what you just mentioned about your own upbringing. And I was kind of vibing with you for a second, because even though I did have my father in my life until because my mom and dad did divorce, and I was going to mention that in a second ago. But I had my father in my life, until I was a young adult. He passed away a little early, but growing up, I'm still around my mom, my grandmother, my aunts, that kind of thing, all of which are basically divorced. And even in high school and even in undergrad, the same thing, like having a hard time breaking up with being the bad guy and breaking up with them. So I was resonating with you there. But just like you mentioned, the grandparents, like my grandfather and grandmother on my father's side, together forever, even though my grandmother has said in her, more after she's had a few spirits, like I don't even say because of kids, like that's one of those things. But you can tell they went through something, but they stayed together. Same thing with my grandmother and my grandfather on my mother's side. Those are the catalysts for what I consider relationships, because guess what? Everybody under them, moms, uncles, aunts, all of them divorced on their second marriage. So that's what I've always known, like that level of, whatever happened here did not work out very well, And what I think, and this is just a theory, what I think happened with them is that they got into serious relationships too soon and weren't mature enough to handle everything that kind of came along with that. And what our generation has that maybe they didn't is that most of us, and again, this is no knock to anybody who hasn't gone and gotten any kind of higher learning or even technical school or anything, but high school is typically the cutoff for them. They're the previous generations, and then you do something. You're an adult.
Not no college.
We know subconsciously growing up, middle school, high school, there's more that we have to accomplish, whatever that looks like for you. So in our mind, our time, our clock is much, much longer. I was about to ask Tino how old he was earlier, because I wanted to get a feel for what his dating range is. But my point is, I never felt pressure to get married. I never felt pressure to get it right, because I knew I had so much to accomplish. And so for me, I know that when I found Luisa, regardless of the romance aspects of it, I was closer to being ready when we first met than I would have ever been at 19, 20, 21. We never would have worked out. We've been undergrad together, never would have worked out.
You just took me to dinner. And then
No, you just called me after you went on a date.
Oh, you would have been the one I called.
Okay.
Hey, I just went on a date.
Right.
It didn't work out.
But
You what?
But my point is, what I think is happening is that for anyone who's lucky enough to have their grandparents together, they do have remnants of what it's supposed to look like. That secondary generation, maybe they got involved a little bit too soon, and they couldn't get it right the first time around. For me, I just know that we have
generation now.
Right. So right now, it seems like it's a crapshoot. It seems like like Tino was saying, it seems like it's all over the place.
It is, because I feel like social media is affecting people's opinions on marriage.
Social media,
really bad, for real.
Right.
I used to you know what, I'm gonna get married when I get older. I used to say that, you know what I'm saying? I'm not that old, but now I'm like, damn, I don't think I want to get married anymore. I dead ass said that, because you see so much on social media. Oh, my wife or my husband you know what I'm saying? You see these negative things about marriage all the time on social media, and it's like
And they don't glorify the good ones. There's only a couple of them that we know of that are good.
they're good.
You know, like Russell and Sierra, they will
Yeah.
literally try to find something on them.
And then you see Will Smith and Jada.
And then you see that.
You see some
or you'll
things
see,
like that.
you'll see Future with 101 ladies he's been with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's Sierra, Russ, then it's Brian and Savannah. Like,
Yeah.
and then that's just
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But other than that, like you'll see like Lala, Carmelo, you'll see, you know, it's just like a bunch of relationships we can base off of who had, or Tristan and
Chloe, was it
Chloe?
Chloe? Yeah.
Or Kanye and Kim, or it's just so
Carly
accessible.
and what's his name?
Or Cardi and Offset. We see them every week. They got something going on. The
Yeah.
baby and daddy.
Together, they're not together, they're together.
You know, it's just we see bad examples so many
Yeah.
times, and it makes us discouraged because that's the access, and it only gets clicks. So that's why that we see those and not great relationships, because they're looking for something for Sierra and Russ. Like if Russ just DM somebody else cordial stuff,
Yeah.
oh Russell just DM so I knew he wasn't nothing.
Yeah.
I just knew. Like he's like,
Yeah.
bro, this is your king. Like, we waiting for that tweet. This is your king.
This guy, yeah, like
Yeah.
So-
Straight up.
Naked Goods husband, they still roasting right
Yeah.
now. You know what I'm saying?
I will say that it's intriguing what you said, because I was going to ask this question, and we talked about this before. Do you feel like our generation started dating a little early? Only reason I say that is because I will say I started, and you really don't count, you try not to count school
Yeah.
as dating, but you do. I started dating early, like
Like high school, or
middle school, like try to date, like
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
try to
I did the
date-
same thing.
You know what I mean?
I feel like everybody's been there,
And-
though.
but
the concept of dating, whatever that looks like, is 7th,
Yeah.
8th grade.
I mean, which, you know, obviously when you're in middle school, it's elementary, you know, call me on the house phone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Well, my mama ain't home, or you go to call between these times.
You gotta send that text. Don't call this one
Don't
after this
call
time.
after
Don't call after 8. Please don't call after
I
8.
wasn't
Please
even
don't
text
call
it when I
my
first.
I want to
when I was in
answer your
middle
question
school.
directly though, because no, I don't think we started too soon. Mind you, I'm probably older than everybody in here, but I'm 39, right? So I think that the biggest issue with social media is that it's killing this one little area that you're supposed to have these person-to-person awkward exchanges and learning about reading the room and feeling their vibe. I think the earlier you can be person on person and learning that the whole way, the better you're going to be once you've matured enough and you've had these experiences. Because I can't tell you, like you're being hammered with what you see, but you're not feeling nothing through a screen.
I don't agree.
Really?
I don't agree. I will say that if I started dating in the 8th grade and you were enduring pain since you were 14.
Yeah.
So if you've been cheated on and it's happened in high school,
embarrassed.
or college,
Yeah, all
and now
that.
you're 22, and now you're really like dating because you're a grown person.
Mm-hmm.
How do you renege all that pain back then to being like, okay, that just happened back then. I can just be open with the interaction. Like there's a lot of people out there that actually dated early and they endured pain and trauma, and they just now they're toxic because they did it too early.
Sure.
If they started dating when it was 18 to 20 something, they probably would not be the same people they are today.
So you're saying that you think in your theory that it's about emotional intelligence, like how emotionally intelligent you are and aware of who you are and things you've been through that will affect your marriage.
How emotionally invested, not just marriage, in your relationship, how emotionally invested have you been into relationships, and how has it impacted who you are today?
I agree with
That's
that.
the question.
I
So-
wholeheartedly agree with
So
that.
if you've cheated, if you've been cheated on, if you've done, you know, and it's mixed in with your upbringing and things like that as well.
Yeah.
But how are you going to wipe off, you've been cheated on 3 times in your lifetime, and then you just wipe that away and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try to find a husband.
And you know
No,
what?
you're going to have those traumas.
You are absolutely right. I have been cheated on by every single guy that I've been with. And I have never broken up with someone in the many boyfriends that I've had. And honestly, like that's, when I think back about it, like, of course it's painful, like to think about those things because you trust someone, right? But at the same time, it's just like, you have to be able, at what point do we as people decide, like, I'm not gonna allow these traumas to dictate every single one of my relationships, and instead I'm going to reflect on who I am and bring it more inward instead of projecting outward. And I think that that's the problem that social media brings.
That's what I was about to say.
Like when I was hearing you talk, I was thinking to myself, like, I can imagine like how hard it must be to date right now.
Yeah.
Because
We feel for you.
Like, I like this.
seriously, like if you want to come over for
dinner and
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah,
like
no,
we
because
cool
it
together,
really is
You're
like,
gonna drug me.
right, like
She's gonna hit
I
it.
might be catfish because you have people out there that really have a lot of self-hate, like, and that have a lot of trauma in their lives that they're dealing with, that don't like their color, that don't like their age, that project themselves as a different person on social media,
Yeah.
when in real life, like, they have to cut through all that fat and dig deeper and go inward to who they are.
You're doing twice